It's father figures. It's Justin Michael. I can't believe how much has changed over the years. I looked in the mirror the other day, and it turns out I don't know that guy as well as I thought I did. I was pretty sure he was not maybe the weight that he is, had a little bit more hair than he had. But the thing I do know of all of the things that have changed that you have no control over, except for a good moisturizing routine, is that you hope that over time what changes is your knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and your ability to have a few friends around you that can tell you whether you have any knowledge, wisdom, or understanding. McSullivan is in the house. How you doing, son?
Yo, I feel like I need to rap if you're gonna, dig a digger. Is that what
Yeah,
we do?
just
Is that what the
being
kids
in
do?
the house and you feeling like you need to rap dates you so much.
Dude,
Because we
I
went
don't
to
need any.
gigs. We went to gigs where all the DJ or all the MC or all the lead singer had to say was in the house. And
Oh, that's it. I mean, get the boom, 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 and the hands in the air.
the But I'm saying we were around when Will Smith hadn't slapped anybody, was still popular, and if he said in the house, we were there.
Oh man, there's a whole episode in that, isn't there? Stupid things celebrities have done. Oh.
You've been managing change as long as I've known you. I've been part of some of that change. You the same for me.
Mm.
The change that you manage individually is interesting, and anyone that's been on a planet for a while will understand a little bit of change management. But I think it was fascinating when we added children to the picture, and we understood that the baby phase is really lovely. The first baby, people are like, "Wow, your family shape has changed, and isn't that baby cute?" Second kid gets a little bit of attention. Third kid, not so much. So on and so forth as it goes. But every time a child is added to a family unit of any shape or size, there's a seismic shift in everything from the economy of that family to what's in the fridge to how the
Yep.
house gets cleaned to how do we educate to do we raise this child to believe this or that, or
Mm.
do we agree on the politics of the household, all that sort of stuff. Do you have any recollection of the first child showing up and processing any of those thoughts?
No, you know what I remember? The earliest memory I had of coming into parenthood is one of my mates saying to me, "You know that you put on 5 kilo with every child you have."
Sure.
I'm like, "Oh, I reckon 5 was not being generous enough." But
I think 5 was hopeful.
I'd be happy if it was just 5.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
I haven't yet done my Sacha Baron Cohen midlife reshape yet, but I have
okay.
at 50 Ozempic and really expensive sort of trainer,
Is the
really,
go.
really work wonders. And also if you're going to be on the front of GQ magazine, which, look, they haven't called me in a while, so I should be okay.
I think
But
they lost your number. I think that was the problem. Yep.
we used to memorize numbers. We used to know our own children's names. Both of those things are
No.
out the window now. I remember one of the things I remember about the first baby showing up was suddenly we had sterilizer things.
Oh, yeah.
We had things that went in the microwave that sterilized
Yep.
milk bottles.
Yep.
I bought a kettle that had a sterilizer function. It went
Wow.
like it boiled the water and then let it cool down and then boiled it and let it cool down and boiled it, whatever. It had a sterilizer
Wow.
function. We had like corners of the house that were like dedicated as like sterilized things.
Yep. You needed to gown up to go into that part of the kitchen.
Kind of
Was
thing,
that
We were
like
I was
through
the
a-
bubble boy and I got to touch my
Yeah,
child
like-
eventually when
some kind of COVID house, where you just had to.
there was a sign on the
Yeah.
door. You had
Yeah.
to go through a Dyson hand dryer to blow all the skin cells and dust off you before you were allowed into my house. But yeah, I remember that because our first child, Noah, was an emergency cesarean after there were some complications with the birth.
Mm.
He arrived 7 to 8 weeks early.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was preemie, it was all of that. I remember arriving at the hospital. Jody was in distress, and I won't tell the whole birth story because
Yeah.
this podcast, but to put it simply, to all the gentlemen listening, and maybe to all the gentlemen that haven't had a child yet, yeah, nah, it doesn't really just work the way it does in the movies.
Yep. Yep.
I had no idea. I remember my head just swirling, feeling faint. Look, it's my clearest memory of being utterly useless.
Yep.
Sitting in this space going,
Yep.
all I can do is be the moral
Yep.
support.
Yep.
And so I think that really threw us into that. And I think every parent feels that protective thing, that whatever that hormone is that kicks in, that swells into your brain, that goes, anybody comes near my baby, you will get karate chopped, that thing. But I remember that overprotective thing, and I remember the ecosystem of our house just changed
Yep. Yep.
immediately.
Really crazy. I remember a story. Speaking of birthing stories, I'm not going to tell you any of my personal experiences for my kids, but as a paramedic,
Oh, wow.
was part of delivering a baby, and we were. I was working the other side of Bendigo towards Mildura in a little place called Inglewood. And Inglewood's, sort of another, maybe 45 minutes on from Bendigo. And we got a call to meet a car that was another 30 minutes further on from Inglewood on the highway.
Yeah.
Because they were coming toward Bendigo. We were going away to kind of try and meet this lady who was going into labor. And anyway, the slightly shorter version is we end up meeting with them, got her in the back of the ambulance. I was driving, my partner was in the back, and he was, talking, and I had not long finished university. And when you study paramedics at university, the last semester you cover is birthing.
Oh, okay.
And he knew that. So he's in the back. He'd been paramedic for 20 years, never delivered a baby.
Right. But he's like, you're fresh out of uni. That was the last unit you did. Come on.
I'm driving. So I was driving. He's in the back. We're heading towards Bendigo now to get to the hospital, lights and sirens going and the whole bit. And he's half with her and he's half coming up to the front of the ambulance going, so when this bit happens, what do we do next? And I'm like, dude, do you want to pull over and I'll jump in the back? Now I was, a graduate paramedic at the time,
just for everyone listening, this is like your second or third career change. You were not 23.
No. I'm like 45, 46,
Yeah, which is like 15, 20 years ago now. So
yeah.
No. But you've experienced a bit of life. You've had your own children. So
yeah, correct.
Have
So I'm like, I got a bit there. Okay. But anyway, we keep driving and the lady, and it ended up, it's like her fifth child or something. So, for her, she's driving along and she goes, oh, what's that? And I hear the paramedic go, so that's its head. Which I'm driving, lights outside. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so do I drive faster or do I pull over at this point? We're still 20 minutes out.
Can I for a second, is it bad that this feels like a scene from The Naked Gun right now?
I tell you, it was one of those things. Yeah, it was one of those things where you go, this is either going to go really smoothly or really badly. Mm-hmm. And it went down the really, really smoothly path.
Thank you.
Pulled the ambulance over. The baby ends up being born. Dad's driving in the car behind the ambulance.
Oh.
So I jump out and walk around to see him, and he goes, "Oh, what's going on? Is is everything you've just sort of taken a break or something?" He goes, and I said to him, "No, come inside in the ambulance and meet your new baby."
Please tell me you opened the doors of the back of the ambulance and went, "Oh!"
Yeah. I wanted to.
I'm hoping
open the back. Yep.
I could just
and then
holding the light and the light flashing in his eyes and then revealing your child.
So it would have been good, I tell you. So anyway, there you go. There's a birthing story that you don't hear every day. And we did jokingly say as we delivered her, her and her newborn baby to the hospital, and as we left, I said to her, just so you know, when you name your baby, it's Heath, Heath, and that was Adam. So just as middle names, we're not asking for first names, just middle would be fine. So it didn't happen.
And you can't really combine those names. Hathadam.
Yeah, Hathadam.
Adam.
Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
we're mature
um,
and we manage change well. I reckon every time a child was added to our family, I mean, again, there's things like you don't necessarily think of them as big deals, but the
mm,
furniture in the home changes, baby gates come and
yeah.
go, bunks. How long did I have a cot in my house? I haven't had a
Yep.
cot in my house for, I don't know, 5 or 6
Yep.
years now. And it feels
Yeah.
like I've never had one here. There are these
Yeah.
things that are
Prams.
prams. I remember putting our double pram on the hard rubbish collection just a couple
Oh
of years
yeah.
ago, and
Yeah.
Jody and I had a moment. It was like
Yep.
that
Wow.
object was the
Yep.
most useful. That was,
Yeah.
and there was no way we were giving it to anyone else. We had twins.
Yeah. Yeah.
It had
It had
been
done its
used.
time.
Yeah,
It had done its time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It would have been cruel to give it to another family.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I remember the last time I bought nappies at the shop,
oh
like
wow.
doing the shopping. I remember going,
Yourself or your
I
children?
yeah. Well, there's a whole nother
Yeah,
discussion
there's
there,
another
but
story.
uh,
This
I, I,
episode, yeah.
rem- I remember thinking this might be the last packet of nappies that I have to buy.
Oh.
And I don't, we sort of only ended up using a half of the packet,
Oh.
It was
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
remember
this
that.
is good. This is good. These are good times.
Yeah,
They're good
but
change.
But again, one of the change management things for me has been trying to understand where the children are up to. Obviously, the physical stuff is, what sort of care do they need today? Do they need to be told to have a shower? And there are chapters of that in the early life, and then in the teenage life, you have to remind about
Yeah.
showers again. Um,
Showers and teeth. What is it about brushing your teeth? Like,
what is it
seriously.
about? So do yours? So mine have this thing at the moment. I will circle back, but
Hmm.
the teeth get done before bed because that's the process.
Yeah.
The teeth getting done before going to school in the morning. My
Oh,
my
yeah, right.
8-year-old daughter said to me the other day, "No, we don't need to do that." I said, "No,
Oh.
you do. Have you not been doing that?" No, we never do that. Now that's not exactly true,
No.
but in a child's world, yes and
Yeah,
no
yeah,
is like
yeah.
they're absolutes. And it turns out that they had just decided arbitrarily amongst themselves that morning teeth was not a thing.
Wow.
I'm like, so when the dentist says that and you get a sticker for that, the idea is you keep doing that. Later on in life, we have to be reminded of those same patterns. But the change around the physical growth, obviously the clothes keep changing.
Mm.
The hand-me-downs system
Yeah.
changes all the way through. And then you sort of get to this point where you realize not only has your identity changed, but theirs keeps changing as well. And
Yep.
I've found the change management difficult. Oh, sorry, the most complex part for me has been trying to understand how old the child thinks they are versus how old you think they are.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fairly typical thing for a parent to think the child is younger than they are
Yep.
and for the child to think they're older than they are. Have you experienced
Yep.
a lot of that?
Oh, 1,000%. I was literally having a conversation tonight with my oldest, who's 16.
Hmm.
He's in year 11, and hearing him talk about himself like when he was in year 7 and year 8, which is 3 years ago. For him, it was like 30 years ago. You know, and there was almost a moment where I wanted to stop and go, that was only 3 years ago, or it was only 2 years ago that was happening. So, there's a very different perception of time, isn't there, with between kids and adults, really. We know that time seemingly speeds up as we get older. And when you're a teenager, it seems to just drag out forever.
So how do you encourage your kids to, there's this famous thing that I don't know when it became famous, but the whole be in the moment, enjoy the season while you're in it, that sort of thing. I think I was listening to another sportsman the other day talking about how they wish they'd been more present during their successful run of whatever it was. And I think that potentially, the advent of digital photography and video means that we can go back. I certainly have memories that come up on my phone all the time that remind me that happened. But I don't really know that I'm aware of how to be more present or how to absorb the moment. So how do you help your child pause and enjoy? Because we're all going to say it, man, childhood was simpler than adulthood. Every human's going to say that at some point. Do you tell the children, hey, you don't realize how, I know that we use phrases like, you don't know how easy it is for you or whatever. We come up with different variations on that. But is there a way of helping them understand how beautiful and simple their life is right now?
Yeah, I really don't know. I think, I often might say to one of my kids, do you realize how fortunate you are that you can get to the weekend
Mm.
and spend the whole time in front of your screen doing whatever?
Yeah.
You got to remember that as you get older, that won't happen.
Right.
So enjoy it.
Yeah.
If I tell you got a day that you can just whereas for them they think that that's just the right, that's what they get. It's Saturday. Of course, I can
Mm.
spend the whole day in front of the screen, which I never want to allow them to do. But sometimes it's just like that's the easiest option for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know that you ever really appreciate it. Like anything, you don't appreciate it until you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And
I
that's the
think
thing.
well, I mean, again, there's so many change management models, and I don't know if you've ever seen the ADCAR model, but
Mm.
ADCAR, the A in ADCAR stands for awareness.
Yep.
Um, what is it that you're in right now, and are you aware of things that are working, aren't working, that kind of thing? The desire to change, the knowledge to know how to change, the ability
Yep.
to move on with it, and then reinforcing the learning, which is just another learning process. But I think sometimes the awareness factor is in training our kids is probably, I think, starts with me.
Yep.
Because I'll often start a conversation with the kids going, now, this is how I think I remember what happened to me. Granddad would probably say something different, but this is what I remember. And this is how I remember it happening for me. I remember, I'll talk to them like around school bullying when that happens, because it's kind of inevitable. So I'll talk to them about year 7 and year 8 for me were the hard years, and this is why. Because then I can talk to them about the strategies that I used, which included, we've talked about this many times on the podcast, included finding that third space. So the
Yep.
school library, the music teacher. I remember using school sports. I think we've talked about that too. Sometimes I wanted to get into, I just find the sport that not a lot of the kids were interested in, one of the athletics, do the high jump or something.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
could get to the end of school sports, so I could get a day to hang out and whatever. And I found, in through music and different things, I found my tribe in different parts. But there were plenty of times where I didn't understand what had changed in the year 7 group from year 6, where we were all kind of mates, to year 7, where suddenly,
Mm.
kids were starting. Like in my school, there were a couple of girls that started to date older boys, which
Yeah. Right.
changed their relationship with the group.
Yep.
You started to realize that, it was cool if you barracked for this team, and you were a nerd if you barracked for that team. Whatever it was, there was cultural things coming that were changing, and you didn't understand necessarily why, but kids around you were changing, and it was safe to assume you were too, because you were kind of starting to uncover your identity.
Mm.
And so I reckon most of the change management that I've done over the years is me, and I think I've probably bounced these questions off you at times, almost asking you, how do you think other people view me?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because there's been so many occasions where I've thought, oh, I thought we were getting along fine with whoever. I thought that was working great. What on earth happened?
Yep.
So are you able to give that feedback to your own kids? Do they ever ask you for that 360 view of themselves?
Oh, definitely not. No, I don't think. I don't think they would ever. I don't think they'd ever ask that question of me. And I don't think I'm that great, to be honest, at asking my kids. And I think you're really good at it. You ask your kids that question of, how am I dadding? How am I parenting? Am I going okay? And my oldest one is possibly the only one that is old enough to be able to recognize what that question's really asking and give it some sort of serious answer. And I'm not convinced he would do that, because he's not great at communicating in that way. So yeah, I'm and what have you typically had as the answer when you've asked that of your kids?
It's probably a question that I have to ask in disguised ways.
Yeah, right.
Because it's too direct of a question. And that was the thing. I think I've learned this over and over in parenting. A direct question like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
The answer is, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
What are you even doing? I don't know.
I don't know.
So that's the answer to direct questions because often, so I've tried at times to say, what did you hear me say? What did you think I was asking when I was asking, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I think I ask things like, or I try to ask things like, how are you feeling about specific subject at school? How are you
Yep.
feeling about English, and do you feel like the teacher understands you? And I can ask a similar question about my dadding. Hey,
Yep.
how do you feel like, when I said to you the other day, take the rubbish out, and I raised my voice at you or whatever, did that feel okay? Did that make sense to
Yeah.
you? One of my kids is a sea anemone. So if I raise my voice or I don't know, I honestly don't know, but he will shut down on me.
Yeah.
And I'll say, mate, did you just shut down on me? I can see that you're averting your gaze and looking at the floor. Did I say something to make you feel uncomfortable? So in my mind, all I've done is given the child an instruction to do a thing. Now,
Yeah.
we were raised with dad said a thing, you do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We've raised these kids to say, ask the adult or assess the adult's tone, all that sort of stuff. Because again, we've become so aware of
Yeah.
trying to teach our kids about safety around adults. Um,
Yeah.
so some adults don't know how to talk to children. Some adults may make you feel uncomfortable. And if you feel uncomfortable, pay attention to that feeling. I want you to pay
Yeah.
attention to that feeling, mate.
Yeah.
But if it's me that's making you feel uncomfortable, I want to be a grown up enough to go, I'm going to try and find a different way to communicate with you. Now, I know that sounds all very philosophical and like I do it all the time, and you well know that that is not true. Because some days I just raise my voice, shout, and
Yeah.
recently one of my tactics was to go, I think I might have been dealing with a couple of them all at once, and I just went, guys, I've got to leave the room for a minute.
Yeah. Right. Nice.
Yeah,
Walked out.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good one. That's a good one. Thinking of change, and changing kids.
You can't change
And
kids. You have to have the ones you have, okay?
can we swap? That was
Come
where
on,
I was
so-
sitting. No. Uh,
There's a TV show in that. Pitch that.
oh gosh, don't they? There probably is. Don't. It's
Yeah.
probably already been done. My youngest is one that doesn't like change at all. Any type of
Yeah.
change, whether it even be good change, what would be seemingly good change. At the start of the year, he was going into a different grade with a different teacher and a different support teacher.
Right.
And this was all good, progress. He'd had the same sort of support teacher, teacher's aide for sort of 3 years, 4 years going. And this was a good change. And the first month of school was horrendous. Got suspended,
Suspended. Yep.
did all these different
Right.
things. He's in grade 3.
Mm.
Until we ended up putting him back in the old classroom with the teacher that he'd had before and the support worker that he'd had before, and life was good again.
Okay.
So for him, he doesn't like change at all.
Yeah.
My oldest son's quite the opposite. If he's got the same teacher for too long, he's like, nah, I'm done.
Bored
I need
now.
a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so trying to navigate that with kids, navigate the varying types of change and how they cope with change, is really interesting.
But in your case, your kids are changing environments halfway through every week.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
what is it that you do physically in the space? Like,
Yeah.
do their rooms look exactly the same every time they come back to your house? Is that something you're conscious of?
No, not conscious of it at all, to be honest. Myself and my ex-wife live on the same property in different dwellings, but on the same property.
Right.
So it makes the transition from one house to the other, one dwelling to the other, quite simple. It's walk down the end of the driveway, and
Right.
there's Mum's place.
That's remarkable.
And that sort of works really well. Before that, when Mum was living 10 minutes away, we literally, particularly for the youngest who doesn't like change, we had to do a transition where it had to be, I would take them over and I would have to stay usually for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to stay to sort of try and get him into his pajamas and maybe, brush his teeth for him. And then I could go, and that was sort of the transition from Mum to Dad's. Whereas now, I pick him up from school on a Wednesday at 3:30, and as soon as he gets out of the car, he's like, bye, I'm going down to Mum's. It's like totally different. I'm like, mate, you can't go down to Mum's till 5 o'clock. Mum's working till 5.
Yeah. He's
Well,
like,
and then,
yeah, but I get free
yeah,
access to the TV, and you're not there to tell me off. So,
pretty much it. So today I'm like, I come back in, I sit back at my desk and keep working, and I'm like, where's Piper gone? Oh, he's down at Mum's. Like, it's like,
yeah,
so it's very different now. We're in that sort of thing, but yeah,
yeah,
it is hard.
yeah. I think for me, the kids getting older. I don't know when it is, but there's a period each. I don't know if it's every 3 to 6 months, but I turn around and go, "Oh, you're older." Like, that moment where for every parent you look and you think the baby's gone, the chubby cheeks or whatever, the
Yeah,
features are gone. But then you see them starting to calculate an opinion about something. My kids are asking me more political questions now. Some of the older boys, because they're getting their news, as you might be aware, from TikTok. Um, so that's a fascinating thing to try and manage. Of how do they know what's, for you and I that might sort of be aware that's a right wing paper, that's a left wing paper. This is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we kind of understand a little bit. Oh, even who even knows anymore? But we're still trying.
Is TikTok right or left?
Yeah, I think is the answer. I don't.
Right. Okay.
I think it's. You know what? I think the thing that I'm trying to say to my boys is, well, A, don't get your news from those sources.
Yeah,
Uh, but B, understand that everybody on social media is selling you something.
yeah, yeah,
So, and I know you and I would also have the conversation about how do we know a news outlet is not selling us something, but
yeah. Of
you
course.
know,
Yeah,
we're trying to give them a broad spectrum of understanding to make them useful humans. But ultimately, this is where I come back to, and I know it might be cliche for a pastor to say, but the Word of God, the Bible, has been with us for a couple of millennia now in the New Testament and multiple millennia before that in the Old Testament. So one of the things that we often do is we use the Bible app, and there's a verse of the day, and you click on it and it comes up and we read that together. There's a little video content thing,
mm,
and there's a prayer at the end of that. And so I find just those little points of focus in the day that aren't about opinion, that aren't about
yeah,
argument, that aren't about a product that's being sold, that aren't about who's popular at school or whatever, but is just about simple truth.
yeah,
It's just such an anchoring point. And again, please hear me right. We don't do this at 8 o'clock on the dot every single night or whatever. It's a tool
yeah,
that's there, and I use it when I think to use it. But I think
yeah,
what I try to do with the multiplicity of change that's happening in a 7-person family, by the way, which also includes my wife and I's careers and everything
yeah. Of course.
in there, whether we're well or not, whether whether an injury has taken us out of work or whatever,
Yeah,
there's been all sorts of things that we've dealt with. But I try and find those couple of anchor points that make me feel calm, because I don't know if you've picked this up, but if we feel calm, the chances of the kids feeling calm are much greater.
yeah. They very much take their cues from us, don't they?
Yep.
In that regard, yeah. I think we've touched on this before when we think about where the source of truth is for kids.
Yeah.
They've grown up in a world where the internet is their source of truth.
Mm.
When they've got a question for anything, they go to the internet, and I mean, we do it as adults. We type into Google all the time. What's
You feel tired? Oh, gee. Oh.
So for them to sort of watch a video, or watch a YouTube clip, or to watch a TikTok or whatever it is, that's their truth.
Mm.
Why would they ever dispute it? Because it's only ever delivered the correct things that they've been looking for in the past. And that's,
Yeah.
I find that really hard when they, like I remember talking to my oldest son one time, and he was talking about Metallica's, one of the biggest live concerts they ever did. And he said there was, I can't remember the number, 6.5 million people at this concert. And I'm like, dude, where did you see that? Oh, it was on a YouTube video. I'm like, mate, do you know how many people 6.5 million people is? It's like, there was not that many. No, there was. But he's, convinced that that's where his truth is. Why would it lie to us? And it's made it's exaggerated. I wouldn't say make word. It's exaggerated now with the introduction of sort of AI in our world. Pictures and images that look really truthful and real that are just AI'd and doctored. And so for our kids to manage that and navigate that as they deal with growing up and getting older and changing, wow, what a complicated existence for them.
It does feel that pace of change is faster, but it seems that every generation says that too. And so I think one thing that we hope to do is give our kids a safe, warm environment where they can ask the tough questions and your dad brain is not too tired to at least attempt to answer. And also just a reminder to everyone listening, no, I don't know is a perfectly reasonable answer, or I'll find out and get back to you is a perfectly, please just go to sleep. The conversation's over.
It's 10 o'clock, dude.
It's 10 o'clock. But I think the environment we create is where the change management is made more palatable. Have they got somewhere safe to land? If they break up with their first girlfriend or boyfriend, if they do something stupid, if they if they injure themselves doing a dumb stunt, or if they hurt somebody else, and you've got to deal with the other family that of the child they've hurt, or if they've done something dumb at the school or whatever it happens to be. I think as a parent, your job is to stay as non-judgmental as you possibly can.
Yeah.
To understand, again, I try to remember what I had to deal with as a kid and try to remember who helped me deal with it.
Yeah.
And then I try to remember that the kid's still a kid, made a dumb decision, did a dumb thing. Kids will do that. By the way, you and I manage people, and the people we manage still, as grown-ups, do really dumb things sometimes.
Yeah.
And then people manage us and say, you've just done a dumb thing too. So I know I'm circling the mat on this, but I think that the change management idea is every morning you wake up, something has changed. There's too much news. You're drinking from a fire hose every single day if you're trying to get all of the news or all of the opinions and have a well-rounded life. And so, again, I try and have those few anchor points of, look, brush your teeth, have a shower, give us a hug. I love you. Here's a bit of scripture for you. Hey, here's a song for you, whatever it happens to be. Here's a couple of things that, it's like your lunchbox. The lunchbox we give you in the morning is going to be predictable. It's going to have food in it you want to eat. Yes, we're sneaking veggies in there, but we'll tell you that too. We're trying to keep you healthy, well-rounded, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, Dad's going to do his best to pay attention to his own mental health, his spiritual health, his physical health. And I'm going to try my best. And you guys have permission to say, Dad, that was a bit rough, or that was a bit mean, or whatever, when that happens as well. And
it's great, man. It's good advice, isn't it? What are the things that we want to put in the toolbox for our kids to carry around in life?
Yeah. And so I love even these chats with you, mate, because as I'm saying these things out loud, there's a little voice in my head going, you don't do that as often or you don't do that as often as you should. So I always say to people, yes, I'm a preacher. I preach to myself, and if you get something out of it, great.
So true, man. Love chatting to you.
You are beautiful. You have managed much change. We could talk about that for a long, long time.
Hey, good to chat, man. And hopefully, people listening have got something from it too.
I hope so. Otherwise, it's been great chatting. And we're sorry to everyone else that listened through the whole thing and got nothing out of it. But good luck managing change.
Imagine sitting there for 35 minutes going, I'm not getting anything out of this, but I'm going to finish it, I tell you.
It's the bad movie that you stay to the end of just to see if there's a really cool outtake at the end. So this is a Father Figures episode. There's no really great outtake, but thank you for being part of it. Love you, mate.